I'm about to do an interview with one of my favourite riders, Ben O'Connor. We had a nice long chat at the Tour Down Under a couple of years ago, and if you haven't seen it, please have a look. It's really, really interesting. He's a good guy. Last year he won a stage of the Giro d'Italia. This year he's riding with the French team, AG2R-Citroën, or if you want to say AG2R-Citroën. It's up to you. Anyway, I haven't said anything with a French accent for a long time, and I'm just waiting for him to join me. I've sent him the link, and he's going to click on through to the other side in a sec, and he's in Spain, and I'm in Sydney. Okay.
Hear me wrong?
I can hear you, but I was just doing an intro. I was just checking the results. All right. I've been recording for a little while. I've been gibbering, and then now you're there. Welcome, Ben.
Morning.
I did an intro saying you were third overall, but you were third in the final stage of the Tour du Var.
Yeah.
And you probably heard me gibbering away there. Sorry about that. I was just scrolling through the results. But I start these interviews like this because it basically means you've done something that's valid and worthy of a discussion.
Thank
So
you.
congratulations on fifth. You feeling good?
Yeah, it was pretty demanding yesterday. It was pretty unreal for a stage. It was probably one of those days that could be in a Grand Tour easily and be one of those defining moments. So it was nice early in the season to be there or thereabouts with those top guys.
Okay, that's great. I mean, taking third, I was just reading the company you were keeping. That's pretty amazing. Like it's crazy to think that in February the big guns are out. You know.
I guess you have to be now.
Does that mean because you're not sure if you're going to race again later in the year, or
No. It's just the way the racing is. You have to start, and because of the Spanish races being cancelled, everyone's now been flocking to the French races. I think it's like really the perfect kind of preparation to kick yourself into a bit of form.
Okay. And I think based on just basically where it was, people understand those roads. I think yesterday you raced over the Madone. Was that right?
Yeah. I've actually never done any of those climbs though before because I stay in Andorra and down in Girona as well. So it was a bit new to me, but it was amazing. It was great to race and hard and technical. Had pretty much everything that final stage. And the days before were turny roads and punchy climbs. And it was just a really good 3-day block.
Oh, cool. Well, it's funny, isn't it? Like I started trying to tee up this interview, just trying to find the time which was suitable for both of us before the race. And I'm pleased that we've got a top 10 or top 5 result to talk about. Where would you like to go from here? Do you want to talk about that race in particular, or the new colours, or the new team, or the vibe? You're at home in Andorra now, is that right?
No, I'm actually just in Girona for one day. I go to Andorra tomorrow.
The vibe and the new team, like you've been familiar with one aspect of the team, and that is the BMC bicycle. But then it's a complete change of culture after a few years in the South African realm. Should we start with that? Do you want to just give us a quick overview of your adaptation to the French format?
Yeah, I mean, we had our training camp in January, and that's pretty much the first time I met most of the guys. I think the team's transitioned a little bit to be a little bit more international. It's there's more English speakers. The staff don't really speak English, but the point of moving to AG2R-Citroën isn't for it to be easy. You know, you can stay in the same circles for your whole career, and I think it's really cool to be able to kind of to branch out, to meet new people, have a new complete culture, a different way of, I guess, organising how you go about races as well. But it's still the same mentality when you actually get to a race. The first couple of races, I really enjoyed plus stress. There's been a lot less stress compared to from years before, actually. So I really enjoyed that so far. And some of the guys you get to work with, I mean, I haven't got to race with them yet, but guys like Benoit Cosnefroy, super nice guy. And even if the English is not perfect, you can still communicate. My French is not great at all, but it takes time. You know, you don't learn it straight away. So the chance to work with some of these guys, Ollie and Greg as well, it's been a pleasure. And the staff have been extremely kind. So I've enjoyed my first couple months and pretty keen for it to continue.
A lot of things have passed since we last sat down and had that lengthy interview. That was a ripper. I really enjoyed that. Have you changed much since then, or are you still sort of the Ben O'Connor only that you drink more wine now, or you know more about your wines?
Probably know a lot more now, that's for sure. I think maybe just trying to find that point where you have the confidence in yourself, which obviously you need a result or something like this to kind of confirm, to bring that self-confidence that you know that you can achieve things or do your job really well in this kind of arena, because it's not always super easy or free-flowing. I think maybe I've found a bit more self-confidence now.
When we first chatted and spoke years ago, which was just talking without the video, you were sort of wide-eyed, starry-eyed, you know, like, oh, it's brand new, spanking world tour concepts. Are you jaded at all, or do you sort of feel like you've rolled into it in a methodical, pragmatic manner, and now you are the seasoned professional?
Jaded, definitely not, but you don't have the same sort of maybe just like overwhelming kind of feeling when you get to races. For sure, Grand Tour is a little bit different because you have the whole Grand Depart and you're there for the days before, and it's a 3-week journey. But most of the other races, it is really just another race, and they're kind of just all as hard as each other in the end. If you're in like a race like WorldTour, maybe you're probably more at the front for like compared to maybe a World Tour race, but it doesn't mean it's any easier. And if you're doing Paris or Tirreno, yeah, the level steps up, but it's still going to be the same amount of pressure. I don't know. It's for me. It's just that there's another race. There's another opportunity to try and win something for me or for my teammate. So that's why you kind of do it, and you get to live a nice, fun, easy lifestyle in a way. It's strict and you have to do all the right things, but there's a lot more freedom than working in an office, and there's plenty of opportunities you can take once you've worked hard to enjoy, I guess, to savor the hard work.
No, that makes sense. It makes sense. But just looking at the results, you've got a couple of guys in the top 10, you and Clement Campussin. Was there someone else? I'm not sure. But does that mean you were the protected rider? Were you, or did it just sort of you found yourself? It's only a 3-stage race. It wasn't like an epic. But did they, if in advance of Tour du Var, did they say, "Right, Ben, you're the man"?
Yeah, it was really nice. They were pretty confident, and I did Tour de la Provence before, and I actually broke my collarbone in November, the last couple of days of November when I just started training again. So that was pretty average, and really kind of bummed my pre-season training, I guess you could say. But I don't know if it's because I managed to finish the Giro at a very high level and you finish with a Grand Tour, that the form kind of rolls on, or maybe you find a next step in maybe your development. But I got to Provence and I felt okay. I felt pretty good, and at Ventoux I struggled, but I think it was a good race to kick me into shape for Horvath. And then my coach and director were really keen for me to do well, and they were convinced that Provence would be this kind of like step to kick me into shape. I didn't really have too much of a break afterwards. I stayed in France for the week and did some training days with Ollie and Greg around Nice. So it was cool going in there, and the guys' confidence in me, with me obviously not being a native French speaker, but everyone committed really, really top notch. And in the first couple of days, the first day Greg was second, and we tried on the second day. I think it was 5th or 7th or something. So we had good results every single day. And it was really, it's been a huge confidence building thing. And I'm pretty proud of actually this one, even though it's a small race. But considering everything from the off season, it's, I can be proud.
You talked about the collarbone, so just give us the details. Was it a mountain biking adventure?
Yeah,
I was joking. All right, okay.
Second ride back, I was with my friend, and I just nothing silly. Just I fell and I landed just on my shoulder. I didn't cut anything. I just landed really badly. It was a bit complicated.
Where were you?
I was down in Girona. It was the last couple of days of November, and I just wanted to. I was actually meant to go for a run that morning, and I just hurt something in my pelvis the day before from a run. I was like, I'll go out early on a mountain bike with Tristan. Then we can just, and then I can go running the next days. But yeah, I should have stayed home. Running, just throwing some shoes on, and then going out there. And I really love the simplicity of it. So it's more like kind of meditation, not meditation, but in that kind of form of aspect for me. And some people just don't like running and whatever, but I really do. So I like getting out there. And in the season, I find it difficult because you obviously get super sore the first couple of times you do it. Out in the mountain bike, I sold it already. So
Really?
it's already gone. I don't want to do it anymore.
The collarbone said, "Sell it." Basically.
Yeah, pretty much. And my fiance. So.
All right, let's not talk about that. Anyway, okay. So what's next? What's on the agenda, Ben? What's 2021 going to give you? You're going to be racing through the end of the season. Is that the vibe? Is that how you feel at the moment, or does it feel like the pandemic's going to come in and bring everything to a grinding halt? Talk to me about that quickly.
If there was going to be a halt, it would already be kind of now. I think it'd be okay. Especially later in the year, it'll be fine. I think the plan for me is to do Paris so far. And then I head to Basque and Liège and Romandy and Swiss, and hopefully I can do the tour. That's my main aim for the year. I'm pretty keen to do it. I've done the Giro a few times and WorldTour, so it'd be really nice to have that experience. And I think if you go there in top shape, I can achieve something myself and also help guys. I mean, the first week is with AG2R-Citroën. It's a huge thing. Cosnefroid, I know, really wants to aim for those first stages in Bretagne, so you can also be a huge help to him on those hard days down there or up there. So yeah, that's kind of the year. And it's kind of a summary.
Does it give you a little bit more, I suppose it's excitement, isn't it? Or anticipation, just the prospect of you being shortlisted for the tour roster?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's the pinnacle. In Oz, most people don't really know anything about Liège or Tour Romandy or Tour Swiss. That doesn't matter. It's only the tour. It's one of those things where you are a professional cyclist and you want to say by the end of your career that you've done the tour. And I got to race with, Cav back in the day, and then I also got to race with Greg Van Avermaet. It's just one of those cool stories when you think about it for later. And if you can then win something there, then it's even more amazing. Every race there's an opportunity, always. So you just have to always think about it that way.
Because if we're talking about Tour de France, like this year, for years it's been, okay, it's a climbers course, and now it's more for more climbers and so on and so forth. But this year there's a little bit of time trialing opportunity. But if traditionally when you excel, it's when it's hilly and mountainous. What are you now? Your time trial okay, or where are you at?
Yeah, I mean, I can always time trial, but I'm still the same kind of rider. I'm definitely just kind of a climber, but I'm not a featherweight. I don't know. Maybe I can do GC one day if it falls into place, but I don't really care. I just want to. You just prepare as best as you can and then go into the race. And if the team gives you a direction and you can try and do it. But, not trying to be Robin Bardet here where you're aiming for the podium. That's not the aim. It's to try and get what you can, and still a lot of time. So I know that I can be one of the best climbers on a hard day. And in the breakaways, if you take those chances, then you always have that ability to win, which is, I guess, the aim.
I understand. Well, let's just backtrack to yesterday or Saturday, for example, where you're in that group with Michael Woods and the like, and you're surrounded by pretty well-known bike riders.
Yeah.
From all accounts, Michael's effort to win stage 2 was just a rip-roarer, and it was painful for everyone.
Yeah.
Can you give me a little appraisal of the guys who you were riding with in the Tour de Var, and just sort of talk about just what you're gathering from observations, because bike racing in 2021 isn't what we knew it to be in 2019. We would have ignored largely the Tour de Var in the past. Now it's like, woohoo, let's talk about everything. So give us a little summary, please, if you don't mind.
I think it's just because the other races in Spain have been kind of cancelled. They normally go under the radar, so everyone's now converged into these couple small kind of races. It is still winter. You can say, oh, look, it's almost spring, but it is actually still February. It's still winter. So there's so much time to go for all these guys to think about when this key stress big moments are for the whole team. Mike was super impressive on that second day because he really just blew everyone away. But he's probably the best in the world at that short kind of punch, especially those kind of days. I don't think you can really judge anything about these races early because it is still winter and so many things change. You could probably say actually credit to, and normally don't ever say this, but to Nairo, because double knee surgery, impressive to then still be actually racing really well. I guess that's what happens when you're one of the best guys in the world. You can always be around there. For me, actually, the most impressive was some of the classics guys. You think about Sepp Van Mark yesterday, or Greg and Ollie being still there at the bottom of Madone. It was not an easy day, and they're still there. So that's actually, you forget how good those guys can be when they're building towards, Omloop, Flanders, Roubaix. Super impressive.
100%. In a year like this, given you know me, I can often jump off in different tangents, but you just said Greg multiple times, and in advance of the Rio Games, everyone was talking about it being an ultimate climbers course, and then he came out at trumps. Everyone's talking about how rugged and brutal the Tokyo course could be, they're saying it's going ahead. So do you have Olympic aspirations? Do you sort of put yourself in that kind of selection category or not?
Hopefully, but the aim is first the Tour. If there's an opportunity, then I would always take that, and my aim is never going to be the Olympics. I dreamt of the Olympics for being an athlete, as in a runner. It almost feels like cheating if you're going there as a bike rider because it's not legitimate. I don't know. It seems silly to me. Not silly, but it seems funny because I always assumed going to the Olympics as, a runner or was a track and field athlete, the pinnacles there. It's just that's the epitome of the Olympics. The cycling thing's super important for sure, but it's not, it's not. It doesn't have the same magnitude as what the athletics does, or the swimming, or the gymnastics. I don't know. I would love to go, but I would prefer, and I would only target now is the races that I have to do with the team. And if I have the chance to go to Tokyo, then for sure I'd love to take it. But it's up to the Aussie team. They can decide that later.
You can put your hand up and just say, yo, kick it to me. Like, I am here just in case.
Yeah, I mean, I'd hope that they would recognise some of the things I've done recently, and if not, then yeah, so be it.
Let's not get distracted. All right. I don't expect that we need to try and tell the Ben O'Connor life story right now, but it was just great to catch up, talk a little bit of bike racing. And I wish you all the best for the next couple of weeks and look forward to seeing you in Paris and then as the season progresses.
I don't look forward to seeing myself in Paris. Those first couple of days, horror. But
well, you've been racing in winter now, so maybe it'll even be spring by then and you can sort of survive the ice of the north.
Normally it's never spring when Paris comes around.
Well, let's see. Let's just hope the pandemic doesn't bring everything to a grinding halt again. Thanks for having a chat. It's great to catch up. Let's be sure to do it again as the season progresses.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks, Ben.
Cool. I'll say goodbye now.
Okay.
Cheers.